broad-based market segments. Like, for example, last 5 years, we have seen quite a kick up of our business volumes in the lighter market segment. Namely, behind the digitization, you require a lot of data centers. So that's one market segment which has picked up, which was practically not big or not much to mention, say 5-6 years back, but now that has grown quite substantially. You have the renewable story, which is still very strong. Electronics manufacturing, which was not as high 5 years ago, but now you can see quite a robust development there. The manufacturing automation, wherein earlier people were deploying a lot of labor arbitrage in the factories and the manufacturing, but now, apart from the labor arbitrage, most of the manufacturers are quite conscious that they also need to create productivity arbitrage, which is labor arbitrage combined with the productivity arbitrage makes them much more competitive in the local as well as global markets, both in terms of scale, flexibility, and also ability to deliver to the global market. So there are fundamental shifts which are taking place, and new market segments are getting added, which start small, but then you allow 2, 3, 4 years time, they become middle size, and then they start moving to a very regular business for us.
Okay. So, Sanjeev, 2 questions again as a follow-up to this. One, would this show up as a dominant sized piece for India at large, or as a country at large, or would it be in specific pockets and companies such as you or a few others might be able to tap into this opportunity? And 2, which are these, from all the themes that you've mentioned, because all of them are, quote unquote, they are not sunrise, they're very large, but relative to maybe 2015, they are sunrise sectors. Which of these do you think, as you sense it, has a potential to be multi-year, if not multi-decadal in nature?
So digitization, given the scale of the country, I think that's something which will continue to pursue itself. And I believe the data center industry will continue to grow, and in size as well as more complexity. So that's one which is given. We also see the electronics manufacturing, the sophistication of it, and also not only for consumption domestically, but also exporting out of the country. That again is a theme which is developing quite strongly. The one area which is not talked much about is the precision engineering, which was typically in West as well as it has moved to Southeast Asia for a long period of time. I believe now the precision engineering is moving into India. Basically, whether you are machining the parts for aviation, whether you're machining parts for semiconductor industry. So there are a lot of sophisticated demands from the global players is being placed on mid-sized company in the country. And I think that shows that there is a kind of a genuine need and demand and expectation from the global buyers to use India as a base for their global supply chain. And also Made in India initiative has prompted them to accelerate those efforts. So these are the few themes which we feel will accelerate as we go forward. And apart from that, the electric vehicles, I think before a particular industry breaks out, a lot of underlying formation needs to be carried out. Earlier as a country, we used to import a lot before a new industry is getting formed. But today we see as the EV industry is developing, a lot of sub-modules and sub-manufacturing and sub-assemblies are already being prepared, are experimented with in the country. So that as the EV revolution or EV manufacturing improves, there's a good local supply chain which is already developed, be it on the battery side or in how the EVs will be put together in a newer way of manufacturing. And last but not the least, I mentioned robotics and automation is another theme which we believe India has very low penetration in to gain higher productivity that you can gain with robotics automation. I think that's another trend which is gaining ground in the country.
Got it. So the question therefore that comes to mind, Sanjeev, is that in any or all of these themes, is there a potential both global and local, for these to become really large for ABB as well? Or are you following a string of pearl strategy wherein a clutch of sectors and a clutch of businesses together will ensure there is a bit of a rounded growth? I mean, either strategy could be good. I'm no one to tell you what is better and what is not. I'm just trying to understand your perspective here.
It's a good question. Just jogging my memory, when I came here and started this position in 2016, which is about 8 years back, we were exposed to only 8 market segments, which used to drive most of our businesses. Today, we are exposed to 23 market segments, which are contributing significantly to us. So that reflects in terms of how the India has grown and how broad-based the market has become. And also earlier we used to do most of the business in tier 1 and sometimes tier 2 cities, but now the market has penetrated into tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Now, as far as ABB is concerned, all these market segments are in the sweet spot for us, for the simple reason our core portfolio is in the energy efficiency area, wherein the investments because of sustainability and making sure that your greenhouse emissions are lower. I think most of the industries and the large industry, even the government, is spending quite a bit there. So that's a sweet spot for us. Second, on the electrification, everything is becoming electrified. So our electrification portfolio definitely has a very long runway as we go forward, be it building new cities, expanding infrastructure, constructing new buildings, and also providing EV charging network, providing more stable power supply in the cities, renewables. So that portfolio will have a very, very long runway ahead of us. Likewise, for process automation, most of the industries which are competing in the core sector, they need to continue to make investment on the productivity gains, apart from investing in the expansion. So we gain quite a bit on the productivity expansion by these industries which are already existing. When they expand, we get the benefit, and when they are investing more on the new technology, we get benefit. And also we have to maintain that by providing long-term services. And last but not the least, robotics and automation, which I just mentioned, given the manufacturing which is expanding and which is at the starting point, that again has a very long runway. So we find ourselves at a sweet spot of India growth story at the moment.
So, and I believe earlier you had told us, Sanjeev, that the order strength, etc., may vary from quarter to quarter because you don't look at this business from a quarterly perspective. But just the couple of pieces that you've just told us, which is newer markets, newer themes, and even global companies wanting to make India the hub of manufacturing, would you therefore believe that this diversity, both in terms of sectors that you're exposed to and maybe geographies that you might be exposed to, helps you in cushioning volatility on the downside, but at the same time keeping your ability to grow at the pace that you've decided you want ABB India to grow intact of sorts?
At this point of time, as I look forward together with our management team, I think we are very positive on it. And on the points you mentioned, just to go back a year, I think in end of 2022, we grew 36%. And typically our business is such which grows maybe slightly higher than the GDP growth of a country.
Right.
But we grew 36%. I think that shows that the new market segments which are accelerating, I think they're contributing quite significantly to us. Secondly, within this year, in the first quarter, that is January to March for us, we grew about 30%, 31%. And then followed by already on a higher base, we grew 10% on second quarter. And third quarter, we grew 14%. And of course, we will declare our results in February for the last quarter of this year. So we do feel that that trend is quite built in, and the demand of the products that we offer in the market has a good uptake. Not only selling directly, but also serving customers through expanding network of our partners across the country. I think that has quite a positive momentum for us. Now, when it looks to when we stretch ourselves beyond 24 and look few years down the line, I think yes, there is there's a resilience built into our business model, because being having 18 business divisions operating in 23 market segments, so even if certain market segments go up and down, there is always a catch up carried out by the others. So I think that's where we see stability going forward, unless something fundamentally changes in the economic model of the country.
Got it. And viewers, just for clarity, just before we slip into the break, keep in mind that there's a COVID year which impacted most businesses. But if December 2020, ABB India had done revenues closer to 5,800 crores, and I think the trading 12-month number is almost double there, so, or maybe slightly lesser than that. So in some sense, growth has been pretty consistent and pretty strong in the last 3 years, and which explains possibly the performance of the stock as well. But we will quiz Sanjeev Sharma on the ability of the business from such a base to continue this kind of growth or no, and what leads him, or what are the newer things that he's looking at? What are the things that he's safeguarding against? Because the world is clearly a volatile place. On the other side of this very quick break, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Right. Back with Outlook 2024 in conversation with Sanjeev Sharma of ABB India. And we were talking to him about what gives him confidence for the times to come, and he spoke about how it's not just the local capex that is happening in newer sectors, but also global companies looking to make India their hub as well. Now, Sanjeev, you guys are doing a bunch of things. I had visited your factory a few months back to talk to you, and I was given a visit about some of the very cool things that are happening at ABB. It was fascinating to know. From your perspective, from the time that we spoke last to now, to maybe a 5-year vision, where is it that you find the biggest promise? One is the orders that are coming to you, but two is your expertise to be able to deepen your market share in a particular area, maybe get better operational metrics going out there, higher profitability, and just increase your moat. Where is it that you are most bullish on within this whole universe of things that you guys are doing?
So everything going electrification is a big theme. So our product portfolio suite really, is well aligned with that theme, which is happening globally as well as in the country. Number two, I mentioned about the manufacturing theme, expansion of manufacturing and our ability to provide automation and robotics in that area. And buildings, most of the buildings that exist today in India, I think 70% of them which will exist, 70% of them yet to be built, which will exist in 2030. So a lot of energy projects in those, as well as a lot of automation in those buildings, so that you keep those buildings energy efficient, is another long-term theme for us that will play out. And also sustainability. And of course, different people have different view on the sustainability, but we take it very seriously from the perspective that in a country like India, which is energy stressed, water stressed, as well as have a lot of recyclability problem for the waste, we focus quite a bit on it because that's the right thing to do in a country like this, and also for the better world. So what we do is we have invested quite a bit in last few years on sustainability projects. All our campuses are IGBC platinum rated. All our campuses are zero, no plastic is used. Single-use plastic is totally eliminated. We are water positive in many of our plants, so that we put more water in the ground than we take it. We also use 100% renewable energy. Now, why I'm saying this is it directly correlates with our business model, because all our products, when they are used by our customers, they save them energy and they save them cost by improving their productivity. So what we find is mostly our large and medium-sized customers are very interested to know not only from what our products and solutions can do for them, but also our own behavior in terms of how sustainability strategy is run by ABB in India as well as globally. And that becomes a very important dialogue. And that also is a mutual attractiveness between us and our customers. So that's another one which is non-product related, not market segment related, but is more behavior and how we want to drive the company going forward. Also has a attractiveness quotient for our customers.
So I take it that what you want to do is effectively drive multiple sectors together to have a broad-based growth, as opposed to there being, for lack of a better word, a Messi or a Kohli in your team, which is the main principal contributor, and then there are a few others.
Absolutely. So right now, our product portfolio, 74% of our solutions are products and made to order or engineer to order product, which are everything is value added in the company, and we ship it out quite quickly and gets converted into cash. And only about 15% of our business is in services, which is on the existing install base, and 10% is exposed to the large projects. So that itself gives a lot of acceleration to our products coming out of our value-added activities. And since they are exposed to 23 market segments, and all of them are doing quite well at this point of time, and even in future, if some of those market segments saturate or plateau for some time, there are other segments which will pick up the slack. So that's where we find a lot of confidence that in future, especially in a market like India, which is growing, I think we will have a stable portfolio run.
Sanjeev, I do not want numbers because you would be in a silent period, so we don't want to talk about specific numbers, but just trying to understand, because of the kind of growth that you guys have exhibited since 2020, which is the COVID year, but now the base is so large, is it is it difficult to imagine growth rates continuing on a higher base of what we've seen in the last 3-4 years? Is the market too spoiled when they're thinking like this? Or is the opportunity size large enough for a top MNC like you to be able to reenact that kind of growth for the better part of the decade?
I do believe that the opportunity size in the country is large and it will continue to grow. And if the story about India having a multiplier effect on the GDP growth, I think we will also see that multiplier even at a faster accelerated process, on a basis on us, because we have seen some other countries which have grown substantially in last 2 or 3 decades. Our product portfolio follows the multiple effect of the GDP growth.